Hey everybody, welcome to Stretchies and Stuff. Today I have a beginner's yoga class for you, so it's going to be a nice flow, explaining some of the postures, doing a little bit of balancing, and a nice juicy stretch at the end. So grab a mat, grab a pillow or two and a blanket, and let's do it. All right everybody, we're going to get started in a nice delicious supported child's pose. So grab your blanket and fold it up nice and smooth and make it so that you have a nice padding for your knees. Sit down on your knees with your hips back towards your heels and your knees spread out nice and wide. Grab your two pillows or three, however many you need to get a nice thick foundation to rest on, and bring them in towards the belly, so just touching the belly. Inhale to lengthen the spine. Exhale, walk the upper body forward and come down onto one ear here. So this should be a nice, really supported feeling for the whole upper body. And then just feel the torso melt into the pillows. Arms can just be out in front, hands planted down onto the ground, or if you want to bring a little bit more awakening into the shoulders, you can bring the hands down by your sides, palms facing up near the shins. Play around here for a few moments and just see what feels right. And then find yourself in a nice comfortable position and commit to staying here as we open up the body and start to sink into the breath, sink into the practice. So as we start to notice the breath, we can start to think about engaging in yogic breath, Ujjayi pranayama. So this can be something we practice here in this beginner's class. Constricting the back of the throat so that there's a nice oceanic sound in the breath. So give it a try. Close the lips, breathe through the nose, and make a wave sound with the back of the throat. We use this breath to warm the body as we flow through our practice and to anchor the awareness on the breath, linking each breath with each movement. So just start to warm the body by engaging in this breath. If you have your one ear on the pillow, just bring the other ear, switch sides. And if having the neck turned wasn't comfortable, you can always create a little extra pillow under the forehead and just look down towards the ground. But this should be a nice, gentle, restorative opening for the neck. And start to send that Ujjayi breath down into the pelvis, into the hips as we're opening them here in this child's pose. Notice the compression of the legs as we're bent into the knees, putting some weight down onto the legs. Just changing up the circulation here, cutting off circulation slightly towards the feet and allowing more circulation in the hips, the pelvic area, the digestive system. And without letting the mind wander, just take 5 long, conscious Ujjayi breaths. That constricted breath with the lips closed, breathing in and out through the nose, 5 counts on your own. Once you've completed your final breath, gently peel the upper body off of the pillows and look forward. Press into the hands and bring yourself all the way up. Toss those pillows off to the side for a moment. We might use them again later. And keep the blanket underneath the knees for support here. Come onto hands and knees. So bring the palms underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Zip up through the core here, so really engage. Try to keep that spine neutral, so you don't want necessarily the tailbone pointing up to the sky or tucking in yet. We'll get to that. Right now, we just like to work on slight core engagement, keeping a nice neutral spine. Slight micro bend in the elbows if you're hypermobile like me. I've always got to remind myself. Micro bend in the elbows to protect the joints. Okay, now starting to play around with the spine and the pelvis. Inhale to arch the tailbone. Look up towards the sky. Let the belly drop. And exhale, curl the tailbone under. Look towards the navel, round the spine. Keeping that ujjayi breath. Inhale, open, look up. And exhale, curl. One more time like this. Inhale, arch the spine, look up, really point those hips up towards the sky. And exhale, curl, look in. Stay here. So stay in this curled position with the hands planted into the ground. Maybe push a little bit harder into the hands, keeping all 10 knuckles rooted into the ground. Stretch through the shoulder blades. Breathe. And exhale. Bring the hips back to the heels. Child's pose. Right away, inhale. Come up with an arched back. Look up. Exhale, curl. Stay here, curled. Inhale. And exhale, hips to heels. Inhale, come up, arch the spine. Exhale, curl. Inhale, curl. Exhale, hips to heels. One more time like this, flowing with the breath. Inhale, open. Exhale, curl. Exhale, inhale, curl. Exhale, hips to heels. Good. Inhale, come up. Make sure that your blanket is not where your feet need to be. So you can keep the blanket where the knees will be, but have your feet on your mat, on your sticky mat in case we need some traction. We're gonna move through this one more time, but pay attention, something's gonna change. Inhale, arch the spine, look up. Exhale, curl. Stay with the curl for an inhale. And exhale, this time bring the hips back, but then with the toes tucked, slowly lift the hips up, straighten the knees, and find your first downward facing dog. So shake out the head here. Have a look at the screen if this is your first ever downward facing dog, and bend the knees a lot here to start. Have a look at the hands. Make sure the fingers are spread super wide. All 10 knuckles are rooting down towards the ground. Tailbone pushes up towards the sky, and again, micro bend in the elbows to point the eyes of the elbows towards the wall in front of you. So the creases of the elbows are facing forward. Lower the knees, lower the hips. Child's pose. Inhale, come up, arch the spine. Exhale, curl. Stay with the curl. Inhale. Exhale, hips back, tuck toes, lift up, downward facing dog.
A few breaths here in this down dog. Really try to focus on relaxing the neck, letting the head dangle. And again, that bend in the knees is so helpful to make more space in the spine by tilting the tailbone up towards the sky. And this time you can pedal your feet out. So stretch through the calves, stretch all the way up into the lower back. And know that if it doesn't feel like it now, one day this is going to be your rest pose rather than a shaky working pose. Inhale, look forward towards the hands, come forward, bring the shoulders over the wrists and lower the knees. Step the right foot back and step the left foot back. We're finding a high plank just for a second here, and then lift the hips up. Downward facing dog once again. All right, bend the knees a lot and simply walk yourself up to standing. Watch out for that blanket and let yourself fold here. Bring the blanket off to the side for now, but keep it nearby if you do have quite sensitive knees. So you can pad your knees in our low lunges. For now, just focus on this forward fold. So great big bend in the knees. Let the whole upper body rest on those thighs. So really not cranking the backs of the legs straight. Just easing into this first forward fold. Let the head shake out. Ragdoll yourself from side to side. Explore the strength of the feet and the ankles. We'll be coming back to that later in some balancing work. Release the elbows with bent knees. Bring the hands to the hips and straight back. Come all the way up to standing. Great. And now let's build mountain pose. So standing with your feet hip distance is a lot easier for balance. If you do want to challenge your balance, you can bring your toes together, heels apart eventually. But for now, let's just work with feet at hip distance. Bring the shoulders up, back, and down. Have the heart nice and open. Hands down by the sides. And just imagine four corners of your feet. So the big toe knuckle, the baby toe knuckle, the outer and inner edges of the heels. So imagine all of those points and imagine that they're each getting equal amounts of weight. So see how you need to shift your body around to have that equal weight throughout the feet. Come back to the Ujjayi breath. We'll work through a sun salutation here. So building it up. We'll go through 3 rounds, nice and slow. Inhale, circle the arms up overhead, look up. Exhale, bend the knees, hinge forward, find your forward fold. Plant the hands on the shins. Inhale, look up, halfway lift. Have a look at the screen here if you haven't done this pose before. So nice flat back, engaging the core. And exhale, bend the knees a lot so you can plant your hands down. Step your right foot back and step your left foot back. Lower the knees and come forward so you're in like a kneeling push-up. Take a breath here. And exhale, tilt the pelvis up and lower the chest and chin all the way down onto the ground. Plant the tops of the feet onto the mat and really push into the tops of the feet here. This will help us push the pelvis down and really engage the lower body. Circle the shoulders onto the back and really slight movement here. Just use the upper body. Not too much weight in the hands to bring yourself into a baby cobra. Just looking at the ground in front of you. Inhale here. Exhale, lower. 2 more times like that. Waking up the upper spine. Inhale. Exhale, lower. 1 more baby cobra. Inhale, come up, look forward. Exhale, lower. Press into hands and knees. So bring the hands back a little bit. And from here, tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. 3 breaths in down dog. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, Ujjayi breath. Exhale. Exploring this new posture, making sure there's no pinching or any pain. And know that you can always go back to child's pose. Look forwards towards the hands and take as many little baby steps as you need to get into a forward fold. Let the head go. Hold on to opposite elbows. Nice bend in the knees. And inhale, circle the arms all the way up, overhead. And exhale. Find that mountain pose, Tadasana. Hands down by the side. Take a breath here. Exhale. One more nice cycle of breath. Inhale. Exhale. Moving through right away. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, bend the knees, fold forward. Plant the hands on the shins, zip up through the core, look forward on the ground in front of you, halfway lift, and plant the hands. This time step back with the left foot and the right foot. Lower the knees, come forward, shoulders over wrists, and slowly lower. Plant those tops of the feet onto the ground and inhale. Come up, maybe coming into a bit more of a cobra. So lift the shoulders back and gaze in front. Exhale, lower. Inhale, coming up once more. And exhale, lower. Bring the hands back slightly, push yourself up through hands and knees, tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward dog. 3 breaths here. Shake out the head, pedal out the feet. And on the bottom of your last exhale, look forward. And step, 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 step into your forward fold. Right away, circle the arms all the way up overhead. And exhale. Hands to heart center. Catch your breath. Keep it nice and controlled and relaxed. And release the hands down by the sides. Together, inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, bend the knees, fold forward. Inhale, plant the hands on the shins, look forward, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, find your plank, right foot, left foot, lower the knees, and come all the way down onto the belly. Now, exploring with our back bends, this time bring the fingertips tented and just underneath the elbows. So see how this feels in the shoulders. So using these tented fingers, pushing down into the feet and lifting the upper body up a little bit more. Exhale to lower. Inhale, come up. Exhale to lower. Plant the hands by the ribs, push yourself up, lift the hips, downward facing dog. You guys are doing great. Okay, lift that right leg up, not too crazy high, just level with the hips, toes pointing down, and bring it through. Take as many steps as you need to come into your low lunge. This is where we can grab that blanket and place it under the back knee. So come up here. Well, first just keep your hands down on the ground. Push into that back foot for stability. And if you feel like you're on a tightrope, walk that right foot off to the side a little bit to help with balance. Now bring the right hand onto the knee, fingers facing forward, and the left hand. Circle the shoulders up, back and down, and find this nice 90-degree angle in the front knee. And tuck the tailbone under. Bring the chest nice and proud. And just stay here. Notice this simple low lunge, the swaying, the balance, and the nice deep stretch in that left hip. Release the hands from on top of the knee, and for 2 breaths, reach the arms up, look up, smile. Maybe get a little bit lower in that front knee. And exhale. Bring it all forward. Plant the hands. Lift the hips up and step that right knee back to meet the left. Tuck the toes. Lift the hips. Downward facing dog. Coming right onto the other side. Inhale. Lift that left leg up. My new little plant. And exhale, bring it through, use the core, and grab that ankle with the left hand to walk it forward. Lower the left knee down and walk the left knee back as much as you need to get a nice comfortable foundation under that knee. So starting with the hands on the ground, and then one hand at a time, bring yourself into that lunge with your hands, fingers facing forward on the left knee. Zip up through the core, try to tuck the tailbone, but come into that 90-degree angle in the front knee. Come back to that breath. Nice full inhales, full exhales. And now make sure that you have a wide enough stance. So maybe bring that left foot over to the side a little bit and inhale to reach the arms up overhead. 2 breaths. Maybe look up towards the ceiling. And exhale, plant the hands, tuck the toes, lift the hips, and bring that left knee back to meet the right and come all the way back into downward facing dog. Great. Again, just swipe that blanket off to the side and tiptoe yourself back into your standing forward fold. Hands to hips, nice bend in the knees, bring yourself all the way up to standing. Good. So stay facing forward as you are. I'm going to face you. And we're going to come into some nice balancing here. So coming into tree pose. So have a nice bend in the knees to start. And really bring your hands to your hips and imagine you are shooting little laser beams out of your hips. And try to keep them there throughout this pose. All right, so bring the weight onto the left foot and really feel those 4 corners of the left foot. And just start to peel the right foot off. You can just come onto the toe, or you can lift that right knee up and balance here. Maybe opening that right knee to the side. And if this is enough balance for you, bring those right toes to the ground and just let the right heel rest on the inner line of the left calf. If you do want to go further, you can bring that left calf to the right foot. You maybe want to bring the right foot to the left calf. Could be easier. And just find your balance here. Light-hearted. Enjoy. Option to go farther, you can bring that right hand down. This is completely optional. You could still have your toes on the ground. but bring that right foot to the inner left thigh. Scooch it up. Gaze anywhere in front. And maybe reach the arms up. Maybe look up. Definitely smile. Maybe wobble like a tree. And exhale, bring the hands to the hips. And let's come on to the other side now. Right away, bring the hands to the hips. Feel those four corners and bring your weight into the right foot. Start to peel the left foot off the ground and just balance here with the left foot slightly hovering. So, option to stay here and just explore the wiggling of the right ankle. Other option is to bring that that left toe onto the ground, and the left heel is just planted on the inside of the right calf. So just working with visualizing that balance, and it is still a lot of work to be here. If you'd like to move forward, try sliding that left foot up onto the calf. Bring the hands to heart center. Imagine still keeping those hips pointing forwards. Tuck the tailbone. Nice open chest. And then maybe move forward if you want to experiment. It's always fun to dabble. All right, so bring that left foot into the right inner thigh, and imagine pushing into the foot with the thigh and pushing back into the thigh with the foot. Maybe bring the hands up, sway. Remember, we are not static beings, neither is anything in nature, so just embrace that. Move around, hands back to hips, bring that knee forward and release it down. Shake out both of the legs and come back to your mountain pose, feeling a little bit stronger, a little bit more balanced here. And inhale, circle the arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift, look forward. Exhale, plant the hands and step the feet back. Lower the knees and bring yourself onto your seat. Okay, and swirl yourself around, and we are going to get right down onto our backs. So we can add the tiniest bit of core here if we want to. So with the feet planted on the ground, zip up through the core. This is it. Just slowly see how you can articulate the spine as you roll down in slow motion, feeling each vertebra as it meets the ground. And release onto the back. Keep the knees bent. Bring the heels in towards the hips and take the fingertips and graze the backs of the heels here. So that's where your feet should be. You should be able to reach the feet. If you can't, they should be coming in close. Make sure the feet are parallel to one another. And make sure the shoulders are nice and flat on the ground, creating a good foundation here. We're gonna come into one little bridge before we really chill out. So plant the hands onto the ground, lift the hips, really push into those four corners of the feet, push the pelvis up towards the sky, softness in the back of the neck, breathe into the front body. And we're really pushing into the feet here. Feel that engagement in the shoulders as well. Lift the heart. And exhale. Release it all the way down. Bring the feet nice and wide on the mat and windshield wipe the knees from side to side. Good. Feel that rotation in the hips, creating more space for movement here. With the knees bent, bring the feet back down, flat on the ground, and take that left knee and bring it in towards the chest. You can interlace the hands over the front of the left knee and just bring it off to the side. Breathe into the hip. And that's just on the way to bringing that left ankle over the right knee, and find a nice figure 4 stretch here. So keep that left foot flexed. So your left toes are pointing back towards your left knee. And this could be an awesome stretch for your hips. But if you feel like you need more, walk that right leg, so lifting up the whole structure, and bring it in towards the chest. Interlace the hands over either the back of the right thigh or in front of the right shin. And imagine pulling that right knee in, and imagine energetically pushing that left knee away from your body. Keep those left toes flexed towards the left knee. And while you're here, make some circles with the right ankle in one direction and the other. One more cycle of breath here. And exhale, let it all down. Bring that left foot flat onto the ground, feet nice and wide again, and windshield wipe action with the legs. So rotation in the hips. And then come back to center, bring the feet in. Now this time, bring that right knee in towards the chest, interlace the fingers over the right knee, and just gently guide that right knee off towards the right armpit. Breathe into the hip. And that was a quick pit stop. We're bringing that right ankle over the left knee, flex the toes back towards that right knee, and either stay here. This is great. And if you are staying here, still imagine pushing that right knee away from the body. And zip the lower back onto the ground so you can feel the whole lower back resting on the mat. If you'd like to move forward, bring that left knee, the whole structure again, in towards the body, and choose where you'd like to put your hands, either around the hamstring or around the shin. And again, energetically push that right knee away from the body. Pull the left knee in towards the chest. Make some circles with that left ankle in one direction and the other. Another breath cycle here. And let it go. Release. Release the right leg down onto the ground, and this time walk the feet as wide as the mat and just let the knees fall in towards each other. So you should feel a nice stretch in the hips here. Maybe bring your hands to the tops of your hips and just gently guide your thighs away from the body, creating some space in the pelvis. Knees come back up, facing the sky, feet hip distance apart, and just hug the knees in towards the chest. Tap the toes back down onto the ground, lift the hips up, and just drop them over to the right side. Bring the knees and walk them up over to the left side. So coming into a supine twist here. So bringing both knees over to the left and both hips over to the right. You might want to get a pillow to place in between your knees or underneath your knees, just so that there's nothing pinching or feeling bad in the lower back. Bring that right arm out into a T shape, and I like to keep my left hand just guiding my right knee down. And soften here. This is our twist, really calming down the body, doing great things for our digestive system, all the internal organs. So keep stimulating those areas with the breath. Gently bring yourself back through center. Tap the feet down, lift the hips and drop them. This time over to the left, knees come to the right. Seriously, take your pillow or take anything that feels good. You want to be comfortable here. So take your pillow, take anything you need. You want to be nice and comfortable here, and just let the gaze go over the left shoulder. And again, I like to bring that right hand on top of the left knee. Nice breath here. Imagine the spine like a spiral staircase all the way from the tip of the tailbone. Visualize it coming all the way up past the pelvis, the ribs, up to the base of the skull. It's a really amazing thing if you stop to think about what is going on inside of that body. And it's one of my favorite aspects of yoga. It's just kind of visualizing all the amazing things our bodies are doing for us and honoring that. Bring yourself back through center. Knees come to face the ceiling, hips come back into center. And bring the knees in towards the chest. Reach, so this is happy baby pose. If you haven't done it before, have a look. Reach in between the legs and for either the outer edge of the feet or the ankles or the calves or the knees, depending on how long your arms are and how open your hips are. And then the idea is to get a great stretch in the hips. So do what feels good here. But you can bring the bottoms of the feet to face the ceiling, and imagine bringing the tailbone onto the ground. So not arching, not curling in the spine, pointing that tailbone down and rock from side to side like a happy baby, like a blissful infant in a cradle. You can straighten one leg and straighten the other. Just getting that one last nice stretch to finish it all off with. So enjoy this moment. Bring the feet down and walk the legs out. Come into Savasana, our final resting pose. So this is the pose where we lie on our backs and chill out completely for several minutes at the end of the class. So make sure your palms are facing up towards the sky and the toes are just going off towards the corners of the mat. I like to tuck my shoulder blades under so that I have a nice foundation. And really just imagine melting everything away here, letting the goodness of all of the practice that we've just done sink into the body, integrate physically and mentally. And just stay here scanning the body, noticing the breath. If the mind is wandering, try to stay within yourself here for a few more cycles of breath. And now I invite you to stay here for as long as you want. So you can pause the video so nothing else comes on after, and just lie here basking in this yoga that you just did. But if you have somewhere to go, bring the right arm up and roll yourself over onto that right arm. Slowly awakening the body, like when you get up in the morning, coming into a fetal position. And then plant that left hand down and try to keep your eyes closed as you gently push yourself upright. And find a comfortable seated position. And this could look like anything. You can sit any way you want. We won't be here for long. Bring the hands together at heart center. Bow the chin to the chest. And take some time to look inside. See how you're feeling now. Notice if you feel any different than the beginning of the class. And take a moment just to thank yourself for taking this time to maybe try something completely new. Or maybe just taking some time for some extra self-care today. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Namaste. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this class. If you have any questions, please feel free to send me a message. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you liked my class, and get notifications and like the video, and stay in touch. Thanks.